I gave my puppy to the paperboy. It was the best thing I ever did. When my golden retriever had a litter of 14 puppies in 2008, I took 3 weeks off work just to rotate them for feeding. It was chaos, but the kind of chaos that makes you remember why you love dogs. Every morning around 4:00 a.m., I'd let them out to play in the yard. My neighbor Beth would walk over from next door and ask how they were doing. We'd talk for maybe 20 minutes while she watched them stumble around like drunk little furballs. When the puppies hit 6 weeks old, Beth mentioned her son Mitch was interested in one. I stopped her right there. If Mitch wants a puppy, he needs to talk to me himself. The next morning, this scrawny 13-year-old kid shows up on my porch, hands shaking, barely making eye contact. I invited him to sit down because the poor kid looked like he was about to pass out from nerves. "Mr. Leon, how much are you selling the puppies for?" $650 each. I watched his eyes dart back and forth, mumbling numbers under his breath like he was doing mental math. Finally, he looks up at me with these determined eyes. "I want to buy one and name her Ginger. I don't have any money saved, but I'll get a job. I'll make payments. I'll be her best friend for life." Now, I'm not heartless, but I had serious concerns. Here's this kid with $0, probably zero sense of responsibility, thinking raising a dog is like owning a toy. I'd worked hard to make sure each puppy went to a good home, and I wasn't about to hand one over to some kid who'd lose interest in 2 weeks. But then an idea hit me. A test. "All right, Mitch, here's the deal. You have 4 weeks to save $400 cash. Bring me that and you can take home a 10-week-old puppy of your choice. After that, you pay me $100 every single week until you hit $650 total. You miss one payment. By even one day, I get Ginger back. No exceptions." He stuck out his hand immediately. We shook on it. I honestly thought that would be the end of it, that he'd try for maybe a week, realize how hard it was, and give up like most kids do. I was so wrong. That same day, while I was still at work, Mitch found a paper route, started delivering newspapers at 3:30 in the morning, 7 days a week. Then he'd go to school, come home, and mow lawns until dark. Did odd jobs for neighbors, anything to make a buck. I'd see him sometimes in the early morning when I let my dogs out. He'd wave from across the street, newspapers slung over his shoulder, and ask how Ginger was doing every single morning. 3 weeks later, there's a knock on my door at 6:01 a.m. I open it, and there's Mitch holding a manila envelope. I have it. He handed it to me. Inside was $650, all crumpled ones, 5s, and 10s. Money that smelled like newspaper ink and cut grass. I just stared at him. This kid had saved $650 in 3 weeks doing manual labor before and after school. I was so blown away that I couldn't even speak for a second. We shook on $400 in 4 weeks. I finally said, "You're a week early, and you brought the full amount." He shrugged. "I wanted to make sure you knew I was serious." Right then and there, I knew Ginger was going to the best possible home. I handed her over that day, but before he left, I made him promise one thing. If there ever came a time when he couldn't take care of her, he had to bring her back to me. Never give her to anyone else. He looked me dead in the eyes and said, "That'll never happen, Mr. Leon." We shook on it. 2 years passed, and Mitch was the best dog owner I'd ever seen. Then one morning at 5 a.m., I heard someone banging on my door like the house was on fire. I ran downstairs in my boxers and opened it to find Mitch standing there, tears streaming down his face, holding Ginger in his arms. She was barely breathing, her body limp and shaking. "Mr. Leon, something's wrong with her. She won't wake up properly and she's been throwing up blood." I grabbed my keys without thinking. We rushed to the emergency vet, and that's when the doctor pulled me aside with the x-rays. What he showed me made my stomach drop because there were pieces of something inside her that shouldn't be there. The vet, Dr. Harrison, looked at me with this grave expression I'll never forget. "Mr. Leon, I need to ask you something important. Has anyone else been feeding Ginger? Does Mitch have any enemies?" "Enemies?" I repeated. "He's 15 years old. What kind of question is that?" Dr. Harrison pointed to the x-ray screen, tracing small white spots scattered through Ginger's stomach. "These are metal fragments. They're consistent with rat poison bait that's been mixed with ground meat. Whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing because the dosage was calculated to kill a dog Ginger's size." My blood went cold. I literally felt the temperature drop in my body. "You're telling me someone poisoned her? On purpose?" "I'm saying this wasn't an accident. This was deliberate." I walked back to the waiting room where Mitch was sitting, his leg bouncing up and down like a jackhammer. His hands were still covered in Ginger's blood from carrying her. When he saw my face, he stood up immediately. "What did he say?" I pulled him into a private corner. "Mitch, someone poisoned Ginger. The vet found rat poison mixed with meat in her stomach." The color drained from his face. "What? No, that's not possible. I never gave her anything like that. I only feed her the kibble you helped me pick out." "I know you didn't do it," I said quickly, "but we need to figure out who did." Dr. Harrison called us back. "We need to operate right now. Every minute counts. Do whatever you have to do," I told him. "Money's not an issue." The surgery started within 10 minutes. They wheeled Ginger back, and Mitch just collapsed into a waiting room chair, his head in his hands. I sat next to him, trying to process what the hell was happening. Someone had tried to murder this kid's dog. What kind of sick person does that? The surgery took 2 hours. Dr. Harrison came out looking exhausted but relieved. "She's stable. We removed 12 small metal pellets from her stomach along with chunks of hamburger meat that, based on what you've told me, Mitch definitely didn't feed her." "Can I see her?" Mitch asked immediately. "Not yet. She needs to stay in intensive care for observation. We'll monitor her for the next 72 hours to make sure there's no organ damage." Dr. Harrison handed me the invoice. $3,200. I didn't even blink. I pulled out my credit card and paid it right there. Mitch tried to stop me, saying he'd pay me back, but I shut that down fast. We'll figure that out later. Right now, we need to find out who did this. I drove Mitch home at 9 a.m. The sun was fully up now, and the neighborhood looked so normal, so peaceful. It was hard to believe that somewhere in these streets, someone had tried to kill Ginger. Mitch stared out the window the whole drive, not saying a word. When we pulled up to his house, I turned off the engine. Mitch, I need you to think carefully. When could Ginger have eaten that meat? He rubbed his face with both hands. I tie her outside every morning at 3 a.m. before I start my route. She's out there for exactly 45 minutes while I deliver the papers in the neighborhood. Then I bring her back inside before I go to school. Every single morning? Yeah, same routine, same time, same spot in the yard. That's when it hit me. Someone had been watching Mitch's routine. They knew exactly when Ginger would be alone and vulnerable. They'd waited for that window and struck. Show me where you tie her up. We walked around to his backyard. There was a metal stake driven into the ground near the fence with Ginger's leash still attached. I started searching the area looking for anything unusual. That's when I found it wedged behind the fence post, a greasy paper towel with meat residue on it. I pulled a plastic bag from my pocket, the kind you use for dog waste, and carefully picked it up. We're keeping this. This is evidence. Evidence for what? Who would do this to her? Mitch's voice cracked. That's what we're going to find out. Has anyone given you trouble lately? Anyone mad at you? Mitch thought for a moment, then his eyes widened. Oh man, 2 weeks ago this high school kid named Travis confronted me on my route. He said I stole his paper route when he got fired for skipping days. He told me I'd regret taking his money. I honestly didn't think much of it at the time. I just figured he was blowing off steam. What's his last name? Fletcher. Travis Fletcher. He lives like 6 streets over. I knew exactly where that was. Get cleaned up and try to rest. I'll pick you up this afternoon and we're going to pay Travis a visit. At 3 p.m. I picked Mitch up and we drove to Travis Fletcher's house. It was a basic 2-story with a beat-up sedan in the driveway. I knocked on the door and a tired-looking woman in her 40s answered. Can I see my dad? I help you? Mrs. Fletcher? My name's Leon. This is Mitch. We need to talk to your son Travis about something that happened this morning. Her face immediately got defensive. What about? His dog got poisoned, I said flatly. And we have reason to believe Travis might know something about it. That's ridiculous. Travis has been home all morning. Just let us talk to him, please. She called upstairs. Travis, get down here. A minute later, this 17-year-old kid came down. Tall, maybe 6'1", with this smug expression on his face like he thought he was too cool for everything. When he saw Mitch, something flickered in his eyes. What's up? Travis said, leaning against the doorframe. You know what's up? I said. Mitch's dog almost died this morning from rat poison mixed with hamburger meat. You threatened Mitch 2 weeks ago, said he'd regret taking your job. Now his dog's in the ICU fighting for her life. Travis didn't even flinch. That sucks, man. But I didn't do anything. I was home sleeping. He was. Mrs. Fletcher jumped in. He didn't leave the house. I watched Travis carefully. He was good, I'll give him that. But when I mentioned Ginger being in intensive care, I caught it. The smallest smirk at the corner of his mouth. It was there for maybe half a second, but I saw it. If anything else happens to that dog, I said slowly, I will make sure everyone in this neighborhood knows exactly what kind of person you are. I'll put flyers on every door. I'll post it online. I'll tell every single one of your neighbors what you did. Travis laughed. Actually laughed. Good luck with that. You got nothing. We left, but as we were walking to my car, I glanced back at the house. Travis was watching us from his bedroom window with this satisfied expression, like he'd gotten away with something. He did it, Mitch said quietly. Yeah, he did. Over the next few days, I started asking around the neighborhood. I talked to Beth first, obviously since she was Mitch's mom. She mentioned that Travis used to vandalize mailboxes when he was younger, spray painting them and knocking them over, but nothing was ever proven. Another neighbor, Mr. Kowalski, told me Travis got fired from the paper route, not just for skipping days, but for stealing money from customer payments. Apparently, customers would give him cash for the monthly subscription, and Travis would just pocket it and never turn it in. Kid's bad news, Mr. Kowalski said. Always has been. 3 days later, Dr. Harrison called. Ginger was stable enough to come home. Mitch and I picked her up together. She was weak, walking slowly, but her tail wagged when she saw Mitch. He dropped to his knees right there in the vet's office and hugged her, crying into her fur. I'm so sorry, girl. I'm so sorry. On the drive home, I laid down the new rule. From now on, Ginger stays inside during your route. No exceptions. I know, Mitch said. I'm never tying her outside again. But Mitch was different after that. Quieter, angrier. He stopped smiling as much. I could see it eating at him, the fact that someone had tried to hurt Ginger just to get at him. 3 days after Ginger came home, Mitch was delivering papers at 4 a.m. when he called me. I was already awake, letting my dogs out when my phone rang. Mr. Leon, he's here. Who's there? Travis. His car is parked 2 streets over from my house. Engine's running, lights off. I'm watching him from behind a tree. He's just sitting there. Stay where you are. Don't approach him. Just watch what he does. I threw on a jacket and drove over. By the time I got there, Travis's car was gone. But Mitch showed me exactly where it had been parked, perfectly positioned to see Mitch's house in the yard where Ginger used to be tied up. This is stalking, I said, but we need proof before we can do anything about it. What kind of proof? I pulled a small notebook from my glove compartment and handed it to Mitch. Keep a log. Every time you see Travis or his car anywhere near your house, write down the exact time and location. We're building a case. Over the next week, Mitch documented everything. Travis drove past his house 4 separate times, always between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. Once, Mitch saw him slow down and just stare at the front yard where Ginger used to be tied up, like he was disappointed she wasn't there anymore. He's obsessed, Mitch told me. It's like he can't let let it go. I decided to talk to Gary, the newspaper distribution manager who'd hired Mitch. Gary was a good guy, former Marine, ran a tight ship. I met him at a coffee shop near the distribution center. "What can you tell me about Travis Fletcher?" I asked. Gary sighed. "That kid, man, he was a nightmare. We fired him not just for skipping days, but because customers were complaining left and right. He'd demand bigger tips, get rude if people didn't have cash ready. One lady said he called her cheap to her face. Did he try to get his job back? Oh yeah, after we hired Mitch, Travis showed up here 3 times begging for another chance. I told him no every time. The last time, he got angry, started yelling about how it wasn't fair that some middle school kid replaced him. That middle school kid is doing a better job than Travis ever did." Exactly, and Travis can't handle that. Gary told me something else too. Travis's girlfriend had broken up with him right around the same time he lost the route. The girl's name was Ashley, and apparently she dumped him because he couldn't afford to take her anywhere. Travis blamed losing the paper route for losing his girlfriend, and he'd become obsessed with the fact that Mitch was succeeding where he'd failed. "Would you be willing to talk to his parents?" I asked. "Tell them he's been harassing Mitch?" "Absolutely. That kid needs to be stopped." Gary called Mrs. Fletcher that afternoon. I was there when he made the call, speakerphone on. He explained that Travis had been spotted multiple times stalking Mitch's route, and that it was making Mitch uncomfortable and unsafe. Mrs. Fletcher's response? She hung up on him, just straight up ended the call after saying it was ridiculous, and we were all making things up to make Travis look bad. 2 days later, Mitch found 5 newspapers completely shredded and scattered across one of his customers' lawns. The customer was Mr. Russo, an older Italian guy who tipped Mitch $20 every week. He was furious. "What the hell is this?" Mr. Russo said, gesturing at the mess of torn paper all over his front yard. "You think this is funny?" "Mr. Russo, I swear I didn't do this," Mitch said, his voice shaking. "Someone's been messing with my route. My dog almost died 2 weeks ago because someone poisoned her." Mr. Russo's anger immediately shifted. "What? Someone poisoned your dog?" Mitch told him everything. Travis, the threats, the stalking. Mr. Russo's face went red. "That piece of garbage. You know what? I got a security camera pointed at my driveway. Let me check the footage." We followed Mr. Russo inside. He pulled up his security camera app on his computer and scrubbed through the footage from that morning. At 3:47 a.m., clear as day, there was Travis Fletcher walking up to the porch, grabbing the newspaper Mitch had delivered, ripping it into pieces and tossing it everywhere. The video was perfect quality. You could see his face, his clothes, everything. "I'm burning this onto a DVD right now," Mr. Russo said. "You take this to his parents, and if they don't do something about it, we go to the police." Mr. Russo made 3 copies of the DVD. I took them all. That evening, I showed the video to Beth and 2 other neighbors who'd known Mitch since he was little. They were shocked and furious. Beth said she was going to talk to Mrs. Fletcher herself. The next morning, Beth marched over to the Fletcher house with one of the DVDs. I didn't go with her. I figured it would be better coming from one mom to another. She came back 30 minutes later looking frustrated. I showed her the video. She watched the whole thing, and Leon, I swear her face went pale. But then she got defensive again. Started saying Travis is going through a hard time, that boys will be boys, that we're all overreacting. "Did you mention Ginger?" Not at first. But when she tried to brush off the video like it was just a prank, I lost my temper. I told her that poisoning a dog isn't a prank. What did she say? She froze. Asked me what I meant. So I told her everything about Ginger. The rat poison, the surgery, the 12 metal pellets they pulled out of her stomach. Leon, Mrs. Fletcher looked genuinely shocked, like she actually didn't know. She asked if she could keep the DVD to show her husband when he got home from work. That night at 8 p.m., there was a knock on my door. I opened it to find a big guy, probably 6'3", 250 pounds, wearing a work uniform with Fletcher Plumbing embroidered on the chest. He looked exhausted. "You Leon?" "That's me. I'm Dave Fletcher, Travis's dad." He rubbed his face with both hands. "I just watched that video. I talked to Travis. He denied poisoning the dog, but he admitted to following the kid and destroying the newspapers. He poisoned her. Your wife might believe his denial, but I don't." Dave Fletcher nodded slowly. "Neither do I, if I'm being honest. Look, I'm not here to make excuses. I'm here to ask what you want from us. What do you want Travis to do to make this right?" I respected that he didn't waste time with more denials. "He pays for Ginger's vet bill, all of it, and he stays away from Mitch completely. No driving past his house, no contact, nothing." "How much was the vet bill?" $3,200. Dave Fletcher actually winced. "Jesus. Okay, I'll make sure he pays it. I'm getting him a job at the grocery store. He'll pay you back in installments. I'm also taking his car keys until further notice." That works for me. 2 days later, Travis showed up at my door with his father. Travis looked absolutely miserable, but also furious, like he was being forced to do something beneath him. Dave Fletcher clearly wasn't taking any of his son's attitude. "Apologize," Dave said. Travis mumbled something. Louder. "I'm sorry for destroying the newspapers. I'll pay back the vet bill." I didn't accept the apology. I just took the first payment he handed me, $200 in cash, and closed the door. Mitch had been watching from my living room window. He didn't say anything, but I could see the anger on his face. Travis got a job bagging groceries at the local supermarket. Every 2 weeks like clockwork, he showed up at my door with $200. Sometimes his dad came with him. Sometimes he came alone. He always looked miserable. I never invited him inside. The payments continued for months. 3 months in, Mitch saw Travis at the grocery store while shopping with Beth. Travis was bagging items at checkout line 3, looking absolutely exhausted. Their eyes met for maybe 2 seconds. Travis looked away first, his face going red. Mitch didn't say anything, just kept walking, but I could tell from the look on his face that he felt a strange sense of justice seeing Travis in that moment. After 5 months, Travis made his final payment of $200, bringing the total to exactly $3,200. Dave Fletcher came with him for this last one. "This is the last payment," Dave said. "Travis is moving out of state to live with my brother in Ohio, getting a fresh start." "Good," I said. Dave hesitated, then looked at me seriously. "Can I ask you something? Do you really think Travis poisoned the the dog? I looked at Travis, who was staring at the ground. Does it matter what I think? Do you think he did it? Dave's jaw tightened. After we talked to him that first time, I checked our garage. We keep rat poison in there for the mice we get every winter. A whole box of it was missing. Travis swears he didn't take it, but yeah, I think he did it. He'll never admit it though. Then we're done here, I said. They left. I watched them walk to their truck. Dave got in the driver's side, Travis in the passenger seat. Before they pulled away, I saw Dave say something to Travis, his hands gripping the steering wheel so tight his knuckles were white. Travis just stared straight ahead. Later that evening, I sat on my porch with Mitch and Ginger. Ginger was fully recovered now, back to her energetic, happy self. Mitch was scratching behind her ears, watching her tail wag. Mr. Leon, I don't get it. Why did Travis hate me so much over a stupid paper route? I thought about how to answer that. Some people can't handle losing, especially to someone younger who makes them look bad by succeeding where they failed. Travis lost his job, lost his girlfriend, lost his pride, and instead of working to fix himself, he blamed you. Easier to destroy someone else than build yourself back up. Should I forgive him? That's your choice, Mitch. Forgiveness is yours to give or not give, but forgetting? That would be stupid. You remember this. Remember that people will sometimes try to destroy what you've earned just because they couldn't earn it themselves. Mitch nodded, processing that. Ginger rolled over, wanting her belly rubbed. We both laughed, and for a moment, everything felt normal again. 6 months passed. Ginger was now completely back to normal, maybe even better than before. She had so much energy it was hard to believe she'd almost died. Mitch was 15 now, still doing the paper route religiously. But something had changed in him. The situation with Travis had taught him to be more aware, more careful. He'd also gotten really good at reading people. His customer base had actually grown. Word had spread through the neighborhood about what happened, and people respected how Mitch handled it. They liked that he didn't quit, didn't complain, just kept working. 3 new families specifically requested him as their delivery person. One morning, Mr. Russo pulled Mitch aside after a delivery. "Hey kid, I got some friends who live in Oakmont Estates. You know where that is? The neighborhood with all the big houses? That's the one. I told them about you. They want to know if you'd be willing to expand your route. It's good money. These people tip well. How many houses? About 15. Would add maybe an hour to your route, but we're talking an extra $80 a week. Easy." Mitch said yes immediately. Within 2 weeks, he had a whole new section of customers, and Mr. Russo was right. They tipped incredibly well. Mitch was now making around $300 a week from the paper route alone. He'd started saving for a car for when he turned 16. One morning in late spring, Mitch found an envelope taped to my front door. He brought it to me right away. Inside was a single piece of paper with a typed message. No signature. "I'm sorry about your dog. It wasn't supposed to go that far. I was messed up and took it out. On the wrong person. I hope she's okay." Mitch read it 3 times, his face unreadable. Then he carefully folded it up and put it in his pocket. "It's from Travis," he said. "Probably. He couldn't even sign his name." No, he couldn't. Mitch kept that letter. I saw it later on his desk at home when I stopped by to drop off some dog food. It was sitting there, still folded, tucked under a pile of books. He didn't throw it away, but he didn't respond to it either. I didn't ask him about it. Some things you just have to process on your own terms. 2 weeks later, Beth mentioned to me that Mrs. Fletcher had told her Travis was apparently doing better in Ohio. He was working at a warehouse, going to community college part-time, staying out of trouble. Mrs. Fletcher seemed relieved to have him out of the house, like a weight had been lifted. Do you think people can really change? Mitch asked me one afternoon while we were cleaning out my garage. Some can, but only if they want to and only if they face real consequences first. Travis might change, might not, but that's not your problem anymore. You did your part. You handled it right. Mitch seemed satisfied with that answer. We went back to organizing the garage. Ginger was running around the driveway, chasing a tennis ball Mitch kept throwing for her. On Ginger's 4th birthday, Mitch decided to throw her a small party in my backyard. It was a simple thing, just Beth, her other kids, Mr. Russo, who brought over a new fancy collar for Ginger, and a couple of Mitch's friends from school. We grilled burgers and hot dogs. Ginger got a special dog-friendly cake made from peanut butter and bananas, but everyone there understood the real significance of the day. Ginger almost didn't make it to this birthday. The fact that she was running around, healthy and happy, stealing hot dogs off the table when no one was looking, that was everything. Mitch stood up at one point and made a speech. He wasn't usually one for public speaking, so everyone got quiet. "I just want to say thanks to Mr. Leon for saving Ginger's life. I couldn't have afforded that surgery, and honestly, he taught me what it really means to be responsible for something you love. It's not just feeding them and walking them, it's protecting them, fighting for them when they can't fight for themselves. So, yeah, thanks Mr. Leon." I got choked up but tried to hide it by coughing and taking a drink of water. Beth was straight up crying. Mr. Russo clapped me on the shoulder. Ginger, oblivious to the emotion, just kept running around demanding more belly rubs from everyone. Beth took a photo of Mitch and Ginger together. Mitch kneeling down, Ginger's paws on his chest, both of them with huge smiles. She gave me a copy later that week. I stuck it on my fridge with a magnet. It's still there today. A month after the party, one of my other dogs from Ginger's original litter, a female named Daisy who lived with a family 3 towns over, had a medical emergency. The family called me in a panic. Daisy had eaten a sock and it was causing an intestinal blockage. I rushed her to the same emergency vet where we'd taken Ginger. Dr. Harrison was on duty. He remembered me immediately. "Mr. Leon, good to see you. Though I wish it was under better circumstances." We got Daisy into surgery. While I was waiting, Dr. Harrison sat down next to me during a break. "How's that golden retriever? Ginger, right? The one with the poisoning?" I pulled out my phone and showed him recent photos of Ginger. Playing fetch, swimming in Beth's pool, sleeping upside down on Mitch's bed with all 4 legs in the air. Dr. Harrison actually smiled, which was rare for him. That's the kind of outcome that makes this job worth it. You tell that kid he did good. I will. Daisy came through the surgery fine. The sock was removed and she recovered quickly. But sitting in that waiting room, looking at those photos of Ginger, I realized how lucky we'd had been, how easily it could have gone the other way. Time kept moving forward. Mitch graduated middle school with honors. Beth invited me to the ceremony, and obviously I went. During the awards section, Mitch's name was called for outstanding work ethic based on nominations from his teachers. They specifically mentioned his paper route and how he'd balanced it with schoolwork for 2 years straight without his grades ever slipping. When Mitch walked across that stage to accept the certificate, I clapped louder than anyone else in that auditorium. Beth was crying again. Mitch saw us in the crowd and gave this little wave, grinning like crazy. After the ceremony, Mitch's English teacher pulled me aside. "You're Leon, right? Mitch has mentioned you." "That's me." "I just wanted to say, whatever you've been teaching that kid, keep doing it. He's one of the most responsible, hardworking students I've ever had. And believe me, in 20 years of teaching, I've seen a lot of kids." That summer, something unexpected happened. The newspaper company offered Mitch a position as a youth distribution supervisor. Basically, he'd be helping train and manage other young kids who wanted paper routes. It meant more money and less physical work. Instead of delivering every paper himself, he'd oversee multiple routes and step in when needed. Mitch accepted immediately. He was genuinely excited about it, talking nonstop about how he wanted to help other kids learn the job the right way. "I remember how scared I was when I first started," he told me. "I want to make it easier for them, teach them the route, the customers, how to stay safe at 3 a.m. He was good at it too, really good. Mitch trained 3 new kids that summer. All of them said he was patient, clear with instructions, and never made them feel stupid for asking questions. One kid's mom called the distribution center specifically to praise Mitch for being such a great supervisor. Gary, the distribution manager, told me about it, over coffee. That kid's going places, Leon. Mark my words. 16 years old and he's already managing people better than adults twice his age." Around that same time, something sad happened. My golden retriever, Ginger's mom, passed away peacefully at 12 years old. I found her in her bed one morning, just gone. She'd lived a full, happy life, but it destroyed me. I'd had her since she was 8 weeks old. Mitch came over every single day for a week. He helped me bury her in the backyard, dug the hole himself, placed her favorite toys in with her. Then he'd just sit with me on the porch while I grieved, not saying much, just being there. Sometimes he'd bring Ginger with him and I'd pet her while trying not to fall apart. "I don't know what I'd do without Ginger's visits," I admitted one evening. "She's the last piece of her mom I have." Mitch looked at me thoughtfully. "What if Ginger stayed with you during the week? I'm at school all day anyway, and you're retired now. She could keep you company." "Mitch, no, she's your dog. Mr. Leon, you literally saved her life, and you gave her to me in the first place. Just during the week. I'll still take her on weekends." I tried to argue, but Mitch was stubborn when he wanted to be. We compromised. Ginger would stay with me Monday through Friday, then go home with Mitch on weekends. It worked perfectly. Ginger kept me from feeling so lonely during the week, and Mitch got to spend quality time with her on his days off. This arrangement went on for 2 years. Ginger became a bridge between us, belonging to both of us in a way. I started calling her our girl instead of your dog, and Mitch never corrected me. When Mitch turned 17, he applied for a job at Jenkins Hardware Store, the big one on Main Street. The pay was significantly better than the paper route, and it had benefits, good hours, room for advancement. He got hired within a week. His references from the newspaper, Gary's glowing recommendation, and the supervisor position made him stand out immediately. They said I was the most qualified applicant they'd seen in years for an entry-level position, Mitch told me, beaming with pride. He gave his 2 weeks notice to the newspaper, ending his 4-year run as a paper carrier. On his last morning delivering papers, something incredible happened. Mr. Russo and 4 other longtime customers were waiting outside their houses at 5 a.m. to say goodbye. They each gave him cards with money inside. One had $50, 2 had $100 bills. Mitch tried to refuse, but they wouldn't let him. "You earned every penny, kid," Mr. Russo said. "Best paper carrier this neighborhood has ever had. You're gonna do great things." Mitch came to my house after finishing that last route, his eyes red from crying. He showed me the cards, the money. "I can't believe they did this," he said. "You built relationships with those people. You showed up every single day, rain or snow, never complained, never missed a delivery. They're not tipping you, Mitch. They're investing in the man you're becoming." A few days later, Mitch showed up at my house with a huge box. "Help me get this inside?" "What is it?" "You'll see." We carried it in, and Mitch started unpacking it. It was a brand new recliner, top of the line, leather with massage functions and a built-in cooler. "Mitch, what the hell did you do? Your recliner is falling apart. You deserve a better one. This must have cost $800. You should save that money for college. Mr. Leon, you paid $3,200 for Ginger's surgery when I couldn't. You never asked for it back. You never held it over my head. We're even now." I tried to argue, but my voice cracked halfway through, so I just pulled Mitch into a hug instead.